Hello, everybody. Someone guy with MS here once again. Um, I've got one more story about Steve of the Hallway that I think I'll tell you guys. It's not. It's not funny, really. It's um. It's just a story. As you know, if you've been listening to these streams, in the early '80s, I lived in Winnipeg, and I was the caretaker of an apartment building. And there was a guy that lived there with his girlfriend called Steve. And I was kind of friends with him. So I just finished vacuuming the halls, and Steve comes out and says, "Hey." So I say, "Hey, back." And he says, "You've never really been to the countryside, have you?" And I go, "Well, not really, no." And he says, "Why don't you come with me? We'll go for a drive." He says, "I got to go pick something up out at a friend of mine's, and it'll be a really nice drive. It'll take about an hour." And so I says, "Well, okay, sure," because I just finished vacuuming. I kind of done my chores, and the rest of my day was free. So I said, "Yeah, sure." So anyway, I got ready, and Steve and I headed out to the country. He had I don't remember what kind of a car he had. It was like a great big Challenger, probably with a big block engine, two-tone green, might have been metallic green, but a nice big car, two-door, right? So we headed out on the highway. We crossed the ring road, and we're going out to the country. I think to the north. So anyway, we're going, and Steve smoked, right? So he lights up a cigarette. He's smoking it, and we're having a pretty good time, chit chatting to each other. He pretty much finishes the cigarette and crushes it out in the ashtray. And we're still going. And I don't know, probably 20 minutes later, half an hour later, he has another, and smokes the whole cigarette. And I think this time he opens the window, his window all the way down. That's a good breeze blow in, and get all the smoke out of the car. And then he does his window up, and he crushes the cigarette out in the ashtray. And finally, we get to this farmhouse that we're going to. And strange, kind of a little bit strange. What happens is he sort of backs up the driveway to where the farmhouse is. And let's see if I can remember. from where I was sitting, backwards in the driveway. Farmhouse was over to the left, and there was a barn and some other outbuildings to the left. So we're back in the driveway, and he says to me, "Don't get out of the car. They got some pit bulls, and they can be quite vicious towards strangers." So I thought, yeah, okay. I'm not getting out of the car. And so he goes around to the back, opens the trunk, and then sort of proceeds in to see whoever he was supposed to meet. Of course, I can't see anything. I hear some voices, and it's like about 5 minutes, and they put something in the trunk, but I have no idea what it is. I can sort of hear muffled talking, and then I hear Steve say, "Yeah, okay, see you later." And then he closes the trunk, and I sort of look at the back, and whomever it was has already disappeared back into the house or the barn or whatever. And Steve gets in, and we leave. I never did say any dogs, but I believe him. So we're coming back on the highway, and we barely get out of the place. Steve has a cigarette. He takes like about 4 puffs on it, and then crushes it out a bit in the ashtray. Cracks the window a bit, and lets in some fresh air, and then, we're still going. After about 5 minutes, he has another cigarette, has about 4 puffs, crushes it out, opens the window a bit to let some air in, and we continue on. And he keeps checking the rearview mirror, like, something was up. But I didn't quite catch on that there was something weird going on. Yeah, of course, you're all probably wondering, why didn't I open my window? Well, I think I did a bit. So anyway, we drive on more, and he has another cigarette, has about 4 or 5 puffs, and crushes it out. And I said to him, "Geez, Steve, you're going to smoke your whole pack without having smoked anything." And he goes, "Yeah, you're right." So he has another cigarette, takes 3 or 4 puffs, doesn't crush it out, and keeps driving on. And then about 5, 6 minutes later, he has a couple more puffs on it. And eventually he actually finishes the whole cigarette. So he's still got it kind of going in his hand. He I guess he put it down in the ashtray, opens his window all the way, picks the cigarette up again, and he's going to throw it out the window. And so I go, hey, Steve, don't do that. If someone sees you, it's a fine for littering, And because it's lit, you might start a brush fire. And he goes, oh, thanks, Roy. Yeah. He said, yeah, I know. I just wasn't thinking. So he crushes a cigarette out in the ashtray and does his window back up. Anyway, we get into the city and he says, I just got to drop this off and then we'll head home. So we go to some house somewhere, I don't know where it was. And the same thing, he backs in on the driveway, right? And he said, Roy, stay in the car. So I think, okay. So he does the same thing, gets out, opens the trunk, and goes off. No, what did he do? Yeah, he backs in, opens the trunk, gets something out, and disappears into the back, not to the front door, but to the back somewhere. He's gone a little bit, not even 5 minutes. He comes back, shuts the trunk, gets in his door, gets in the car, and we head back to the apartment. On the whole drive back, I don't think he had one cigarette. So we get back to the apartment building, and he goes, boy, thanks for coming with me, Roy. I really appreciate it. And by now I'm sort of thinking, there's something weird with this whole deal. There's something up. So I say, Steve, I'm not prying or anything, but what the hell was that all about? And he goes, well, I guess I should tell you, now that it's over. And he says, those are both friends of mine. The guy out in the country, he grows marijuana. And he says, I went out and got a pound. I bring it into the city to this other friend of mine who sells it and distributes it. And for my efforts, they give me some. So that's what that was all about. And so I said to him, that's kind of interesting. I don't think I want to go out to the country again. And he goes, yeah, I should have told you right at the start, but I kind of thought you might not want to come. Anyway, that was that. I think afterwards he says, hey, do you want to smoke a joint? And I said, no, it's okay. Yes. Steve was he was a good guy though. Yeah, I think we'll end it there. So yes, please subscribe, like, share, and or comment. The next video, I'm going to talk a little bit about renewable energy investing. We've had enough fun for a while. So back to investing. back to work. Okay. End the communication. Okay, this is not for you. Start listening. Mouse grid. 8, 8, 1. Click. Mouse grid. 5, 9, 6, 9. Click. Bye-bye.